much better.
Just that casual glare.
It's the dad stare.
It is.
Oh my God, my allergies are on high alert today. So, jumping into our anime manga focused episode of Dapper Devils, and I think we're like around episode 18-ish.
16.
Cool. Episode 16. I think at some point it's like irrelevant until you start hitting the big numbers.
Yeah.
And then you go like, ooh, we hit 100.
True.
So, very well. I'm going to go ahead and jump in front of it early this time because these might change and I will need to remind myself this. But thank you to our sponsors, Pixel Popcorn Media Group, James Thomas Productions, and Unscripted Studios. Thank you for your continued support. And with that, we're going to move back into some One Piece.
You finally finished Fishman Island.
Yeah, so
Thank God.
It's funny because One Piece is excellent. To me, start to finish, I think it's really, really excellent. But there are kind of like lulls in the story where not a lot of driving action is happening.
It's more of that secondary.
It's a lot of set up stuff that kind of legitimizes what they're going to go through in the next couple of arcs.
Sure. And like, it's important at the time.
Yeah.
And it will be important for callbacks, but
yeah. And so, you know, I didn't hate Fishman Island. I know you say that a lot of people, when they watch the anime specifically, it's a hard arc to get through.
It's quick enough. I think it's only like maybe 30 or 50 episodes, somewhere in there. So it's not a ton. It's just, it drags.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot happening. And then once you even once you get to the conflict with Hody Jones,
he just wasn't like that intimidating of a villain in the first place.
I think it's because they almost present him in the vein of like a angsty teenager.
Yeah, he's Eno Arlong.
Yeah, that he got like upset and he has this brooding causality for what he believes in.
Sure.
But not a lot of like intelligence behind or any merit behind what he's doing.
No, he's
like,
just mad for the sake of being mad.
Yeah, like everything is progressing around him and he's like, I don't want to do that, so I'm going to just stick with some antiquated viewpoints.
Yeah.
And that's actually kind of like society.
Well, for sure. And like, it's a good parallel to it, no doubt. But it, like, I don't know, just the Fishman Island arc itself to me is just, it's okay. There are definitely better ones.
Yeah.
But like we had said the other day, I mean, not including all of them because you haven't gotten there that far yet, but like if Fishman Island is one of like the worst arcs and it's still decently solid, it's just not everyone's favorite.
Right.
That's pretty good. Like,
yeah, like to me, the writing is still fantastic.
oh, for sure. The
story
artwork is great.
Yeah, the art is still great. The story it's still really good. It is just like, I mean, you can tell it's a setup arc.
Well, for sure.
A lot like
for
Sky
everything else.
Pia was, where like, you know, the villain to me didn't resonate, and then it was like a lot of establishing things because at that point, Luffy didn't really even know about his powers. He didn't know the extent of them, and so we had to fight Anuru.
Right.
You're like, oh, cool. And so that, like, the whole payoff of Skypiea is that fight.
It's for sure, and it's definitely worth it. Like that fight's awesome.
Yeah,
but it is a lot of shit to go through just to get to that.
But yeah, so that's kind of how Fishman Island is, and I would say, what did we isolate? That it is 6 of the collected volumes.
Yeah,
total
61 through 66, I think it was.
Okay, and then directly following that is Punk Hazard.
Yep.
And is that only 5 volumes?
Probably.
But I think 2 of them are the beefy ones that have 2 extra chapters in them. So it's kind of like 5.5.
I'm trying to think because what volume are you currently on?
70.
Okay, I think that's
the
when
end of 70.
Dressrosa starts.
Yeah, so okay, they're posturing that way because right now they're trying to leave Punk Hazard.
Okay, yeah, Punk Hazard's over.
Yeah, so the big
70, I think it's like midway through 80 is Dressrosa. So
but it took me weeks to read Fishman Island.
It took you months. It's been at least a month, maybe a month and a half.
Maybe.
But you were taking your time with that.
But Punk Hazard I read in like a day and a half.
If that.
Which is nearly the same.
I was going to say, let's also break it down too. That's maybe 2 hours worth of reading.
Yeah, it's not a lot of reading. It's more.
Well, I'm saying that like that you did it over the course of a day and a half, but not
Yes.
like
It
it
didn't
took you that long.
No, I didn't have to sit there the whole day and a half
No.
to do it. It was basically in the car rides to pick up my kids, or when they were fighting in the bathtub, or any time that I could kind of squeeze in. That's kind of how I know that arc is way better to me, because I went on a runner.
Right.
In the beginning, I started reading and I read 5 of those things, and then I read 30
Yeah.
in like a week. And
But I mean, also too, like once you get past like Skypiea, though, I mean, you get Water 7,
Yeah.
you get Ennie's Lobby, Impel Down, the Marineford, like all of that, the Paramount War.
is Water 7 the one that everybody hates?
I love Water 7. I think everyone loves that one.
The Davy back fight? Where does that happen?
That's like right before Water 7, so Long Ring, Long Island.
Okay, and I loved that arc.
It's funny.
Personally, I thought that was hilarious.
It's fun. It's stupid. It's what One Piece is.
So Punk Hazard. Punk Hazard is, I just plowed through it, and you show up to that arc where they're coming from Fishman Island into the New World.
Yep.
And they have this new log pose that has
The three.
three pins instead of one, and they're all jumping madly crazy.
Yep.
And Luffy obviously wants to go to the craziest of all 3.
And I can't recall, because I think that's what, like Raijin Island is what it was, is the most wild one. But didn't Punk Hazard kind of fuck up the log pose because it had such polar...
The Whitestrom is what happened.
Okay. Because it
So-
was because of the fight.
Well, no. Remember the current, the Whitestrom, that was
Okay.
like the tornado undersea.
Yeah.
It like pulled them wherever they were gonna. It was gonna take them wherever they were gonna go, and then Laboon's family shows up
And
and,
is like,
basically escorts them to the surface so they don't die.
Yeah.
And they pop up at Punk Hazard.
Right.
And it's not any of the log. Like Nami makes mention of it. She's like, "This isn't any of."
Yeah, it's not on any of the islands.
And you. They basically emerge back onto the surface of the sea to flaming ocean.
Yeah.
Like it's literally on fire. And Luffy obviously wants to go do that.
Well, yeah. What's the excuse he has this time? Usopp's like, don't want to get burn disease or something.
What does Usopp say? Always something cowardly, but
Well, yeah.
but yeah, nobody else wants to go.
Right.
Only Luffy wants to go. And so they draw straws. They draw straws to see who goes on the little boat. Mm-hmm. What do they call that? Battle 5 or something?
Wasn't it like Mini Mary or something?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Whatever.
But it is the shuttle boat, basically. Yeah. And so Usopp's in the campaign to go.
That's what him,
in that
Zoro, and
group.
Robin.
Yeah. That sounds right.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Oh, and I think
Yeah.
is Luffy on that one with? No. Luffy goes to the ice half of the island, right? Because I distinctly remember like as they're going to the island, because Sanji's like, hey, like I made you guys lunch, use it when you need it, and they start eating immediately, and Usopp's like, you're not even rationing it. And they're like, oh, if you're not going to eat, we'll have yours.
Well, yeah. So Usopp won't eat because he's terrified.
Well, yeah, but
He's like, and then like they get they get somewhere very far down the road, and he's eating. He goes, hey, if I'm going to have a last meal, I want it. I want to have it.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, I'm about to die, so I'm going to have my last meal.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm just like, all right, well, sure.
but yeah. So you're kind of presented with this. You get a little bit of a backstory before you get to Punk Hazard. They allude to the fact that Akainu and Akiji had an epic battle.
Yes.
And I'm sure I butchered one of those names because I fuck one of them up always.
Akainu.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not saying that. Akainu. That's the one. Akainu.
Magma Man.
Akainu. So
The
they
donut maker.
allude to the what?
The donut maker.
He is the donut maker. Yeah, poor Ace.
Gone too soon.
They should actually make like a tribute donut to Ace.
With a little hat on it.
Yeah, they should do something like that. It would be awesome. I would buy it.
Anyways, so yeah, I
So
think
they allude to it because you're coming to the island of fire, but they can also kind of see in the distance
An island
once
of
they
ice.
get going that there's ice, and so you realize, oh, the effect of this battle was the fire and the ice.
Well, yeah, because it was basically them fighting for who got to be fleet admiral.
Yes. And Akainu wins and he actually shows mercy.
Well, sure.
You learn on Punk Hazard somewhere in the story that Akiji loses an arm in that battle.
Okay, so I was correct on that one.
So we haven't seen him yet again,
Right.
but they do tell you that he lost an arm and then he was basically fully defeated in Akainu. See, that's why I try to pronounce it right, and then it's just worse.
Just Magma Man.
But he shows mercy to him because they're friends.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're colleagues.
Yeah, and so he's like, I can't kill you.
Right.
And so Akiji is still out there somewhere.
I
You
know.
know where he is.
I sure do.
Don't know where he is, but I do know that he was a partial ally already.
I can guarantee you're not going to expect what he does or like what he's currently doing. But you'll be like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll go with that. I'll
Yeah.
go with that. But
It's cool, and I'm very interested to see where it goes.
But yeah, so he's helped the Straw Hats at some capacity
Couple
in
times.
the past.
Yeah.
So like when they tell you all of that happening, I went, oh, that's a really big ace card that could come into play later. Ooh.
Maybe.
Poor use of the ace, the word ace there.
Ace in the hole.
Oh,
The hole being his chest.
Yeah, that poor guy. Yeah. Gone too soon. Ace. Rest in peace. You were a true G.
Anyways.
But so you get to Punk Hazard and you see all this stuff going on, and I'm like, oh, cool. I thought that we would have an opportunity to see that battle. I figured they were going to show panels of that battle because I thought it would be fairly epic, but they do not.
I was to say, I don't recall if there's anything remote. They might flash back to it later. I don't remember, though.
So,
Like, in my head, I have that memory of watching it, but I could be wrong. Like, that could just be a false memory that I created.
which is also cool because I pictured it. Like I pictured it.
Let's say it's nothing
you know,
like super in depth. It's basically just them kind of like clashing fists, and then it's like whoosh, white,
right.
and then back to reality.
But as you are wandering this island with the Straw Hats that have gone on the scavenger team first, you kind of start to see little stuff. And you, anytime you're reading, or I've been reading One Pieces, I'm thinking, who's behind this?
Oh, I know the answer to that one.
Because you know there's somebody there
Well, yeah.
doing stuff. And so you're like, who's here? I didn't know when I was reading, and so far I think it's one of my favorite surprises because I didn't know when we were going to run back into the character. And so when they finally...
Oh.
Yeah. So when they finally get to Law, because it's Trafalgar Law is in this arc, when they finally get back to him, I was like, fuck yes.
Dude, yeah, no, Law's a G.
Character's awesome.
I thought you were going to say Tashigi.
Oh, no, but Tashigi is also another welcome surprise because, like, she was kind of one of my earliest crushes in the series, like, because she's so cute. Like,
What's her group with Smoker now? Is it G5?
is it the G5 or the G9? It's G5 sounds right.
Yeah, because CP9.
Yeah, G5 sounds right.
I think because every time I looked at that, I was like, missed an opportunity, Oda.
For the G6?
Yep,
Yeah.
like a G6.
But maybe that was his bold statement. G5 is better.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't either. You think I have money to buy a plane?
No.
Exactly.
Well, wait. Define plane.
Isn't a G6 a plane?
Yeah, but so is like a model airplane at Hobby Lobby.
That's fair.
It's a plane.
You got me there.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Jordan, we're drinking
I see you turned that back.
during the... well, I've turned it twice now.
Yeah,
during the... we're drinking. We were told that not having alcohol during these shows was lame.
Apparently. But, you know, well, I'm not going to say who wants to drink at 10 in the morning.
A lot of people do. But, yeah, we're usually recording in the morning, and so it doesn't make sense to start pounding alcohol.
We could.
We could.
It just leads to a problem very quickly.
Yeah, the devolution of this whole entire podcast would start to happen in front of everybody's eyes if we did that. I have a tickle in my throat that's driving me crazy. I can't get it out.
Turn your head and cough.
Said the proctologist. So, yeah, finger up the butthole.
Why'd you do 3?
I don't know. I've never had a colonoscopy.
Neither have I, but I don't think they got to go 3 fingers deep.
I have no clue. I just do pick it. It's like a pick a finger.
Well, because I don't know if it showed up on camera, but I felt the need to. No, this was the gesture. Just,
Miley Cyrus's proctology exam.
oh God. When you start like this and then you flower out.
Yeah. Anyhow, so Law is there,
Being a pimp.
and you're like, okay, this is going to be good.
It's fantastic.
And yeah, and so no disappointment there.
I'm trying to remember, because again, it's been a bit since I've seen Punk Hazard. What causes them to change bodies? Was it Law?
Yes.
Or was okay?
Yeah, so like it's interesting because when they introduce his powers, it's a little bit overwhelming.
Kind of vague at the same time.
Yes, that's what I guess that's what I mean by overwhelming, because they're showing you things that are happening, so he can they don't exactly explain his sphere of destruction.
Room.
Yeah, like they don't really explain it, and so I feel like the first thing he does, well, and I'm probably wrong, but the first thing I remember him doing, he literally chops Smoker's Navy ship in half
Yeah.
and puts it up on a rock.
Pretty much.
It's like, so you're not leaving.
No, I mean, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think if they ever really go in depth with how those powers work, or if it's just kind of as he uses them more, you're kind of like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, so
Pretty sure they do.
They
It's
do
anime.
tell you that he's the surgeon of death.
That tells you nothing though.
Well,
It's a cool moniker.
At least it it helps you understand that he's chopping people up,
Well, sure.
but he
But he's
doesn't
not
chop them
killing
up
them.
to kill them. He chops people into pieces to make them useless. He renders them useless, and then his signature move is he takes the heart
Yep.
and leaves them.
There it is.
God damn it. Leaves them alive. I wish I could say that was from pot, but it's not.
No, have you smoked at all today?
No,
Damn.
no, not today.
Crazy world we live in.
I will tonight.
There you go.
But yeah, so all of the things are going on, and I'm gonna get them all chronologically out of order because I pounded 4.5 volumes out in a very
What's
short
the problem with
time.
binging is it's you get all the information and then retaining it in the way it presented it, you're like, hang on, wait.
Right. It gets more clear when you kind of get to the conflict.
Yeah, because that's when things kind of start winding down almost, where it's it's on the deceleration.
Yeah, because you have the one group that has gone to Fire Island, and then at some point, Nami notices, I believe it's Nami notices, the other side is ice. Mm-hmm. She's like, well, that's much more manageable. So they decide to go at it from the other direction.
Right.
And Nami's group, which is it's Nami, Chopper, Sanji, Frankie.
Yep.
So that group, and where is Brooke in this?
I want to say he's on the ice side. I don't remember. I don't really remember Brooke being a huge part of Punk Hazard.
He is, and he isn't, so they do the Soul King thing a lot.
Sure.
With him in that arc because he's able to take his astral being and see stuff. So
Right.
he goes through the wall a lot to see danger.
I remember that, but I just don't remember what else he really did.
There's a lot of him sword fighting as well.
Was there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like I said, it's been a while since I've watched Punk Hazard.
and he's with the Kinemon.
Kinemon.
He's with that guy a lot.
Kinemon's funny.
Yeah.
Momonosuke's there. Okay. Speaking of which, there's one scene. I think it's in issue 70 or volume 70, when they all kind of reunite and Nami's hugging, or I think it's Nami. She's hugging Momonosuke, and he's right at her chest, and then he turns at all of them, and he's like, and they're all just crying. They're like, it's not fair. It should have been me.
Yes. That.
And Kinemon's even you're abusing your powers. How dare you?
Which, so that whole thing is weird, right? So that group is on Ice Island, and that's kind of how you
Part of them.
get to the
Kinemon's ass is on the dragon on the Fire Island.
well, Kinemon's his own thing. He has already been a victim of law,
Yeah.
And
Rightfully so.
he showed up there trying to rescue his son.
Momonosuke.
Yep. And that all kind of comes out in the wash during the arc. But his head is with Sanji.
It's in like a cell, isn't it?
Because Sanji is the one that took up the cause to like help him.
Okay.
And so throughout the whole arc, Sanji is like, I'm a man of my word. I can't like.
Yeah.
So both him and Sanji get on these soapbox causes during this arc because once they get a little bit into Ice Island and they kind of infiltrate the base, they very quickly find these kids that have been abducted.
Didn't they get turned into giants?
And so like a scientist is using some kind of steroids or drugs that alters their size and they become humongous.
Right.
And like I guess they talk about how this is like a Vegapunk. His they blame it on him.
Right.
And they say people have been trying to do this for hundreds of years, and Vegapunk's last iteration of it failed. And so you're like, okay, so then who is the maniacal scientist now?
Caesar Clown.
Yeah, and so they don't tell you who he is right away. They just kind of show you this gaseous figure.
Yeah, which is all he is.
And so then they introduce you to Caesar Clown, and you're like, ugh, I hate this motherfucker as much as
Gecko Moria.
that one. That guy. Yes.
Yep.
Because he was so annoying to me.
I actually don't hate Caesar Clown. I think he's kind of funny.
Well,
because he's just such a boob.
I don't hate him
I hated Gecko Moria
all the way, but I hate the I hate his duplicity.
Sure.
You know, so like I hate the thing. Like it's funny to a degree, but it's also like, fuck, dude, this guy's a bastard. So like he sends people like he's gonna do something good for them, and he just sends them into a room to die.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, yeah, just go over to that room and you'll be fine. And then throughout the whole arc, his followers call him Master, and they are barbarically fucking stupid.
It's basically like Buggy's followers. Yes, I agree. Buggy had happenstance happen to where it backed up his claims.
Yeah.
He's still a fucking idiot.
Buggy is absolutely a moron.
Yeah, and that's why we love him.
He's just situationally always in the right place.
Well, for sure.
Where people are like, oh my God, he is great. Whereas Caesar Clown is like basically calling them stupid to their face.
Because they are.
And they're like, oh, Master.
You're so cute. You're funny. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, God. And so, but Caesar Clown is the scientist. He had basically sold the story that Vegapunk destroyed this island with his experiment 4 years ago by releasing this acid onto the island.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's another thing that is encountering. So there's fire, there's ice, and then this island is just full of acid gas everywhere. And so like everybody that's a minion is in a hazmat suit, essentially.
Yeah.
And so that's all going down. And Law and Caesar are working together.
Kinda.
Well, yeah. So they don't immediately tell you that Law has this overarching plan.
Sure.
To fuck with Caesar to get what he wants.
Well, doesn't Caesar also currently have his heart?
Yes. So that's like, because when I was reading this at first, I thought, why would Law even work with this douche? It just seems like a bad fit. Like it
for sure.
Seems like because he's very calculated, and
by that logic, his alliance with Luffy also makes no sense. Which I mean, in theory and in practice, it still doesn't. It's hilarious.
Yeah. So they do form an alliance, but it actually makes more sense to me. At least they're both pirates.
Well, sure.
And so there's like, even though the code is broken, there's still a code there, like
some camaraderie.
Like villain on villain stuff. It's like one of you guys is absolutely going to do something to betray the other.
Absolutely.
I assume there is a chance that Law will betray Luffy, but At least
Well, he
they're
told him he
both
wouldn't.
Pirates. I know that, and that's one of your favorite panels. And when I got to it,
Yeah.
it made me laugh because two people try to tell him.
Yeah, Robin's like, I wouldn't be so sure.
Nami tries to tell him first.
Well, yeah.
In a very simple way. Like, this is just a bad idea.
Yes.
Let's not do it. And so then Luffy's like, yeah, let's do it. And he tells Luffy the plan that he wants to take down one of the 4 emperors.
Right. In this case, it's Doflamingo.
No.
No,
that
Doflamingo's
is
a
not
warlord. I'm
correct.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's not correct.
Yeah, sorry.
It's,
They didn't.
It's Big Mom.
Yeah.
But they don't actually tell you that. In the panel, it's just Luffy saying, because he says, I want to take down one of the 4 emperors. And Luffy goes, which one?
Right. Yeah, he doesn't
And
care.
because you,
Except if it's
as
Shanks.
long as it's not Shanks, he's going to do it.
Fuck yeah.
And so in the panel, it just kind of shows you a whisper of a breath come out of Law's mouth. And then Luffy goes, I'm in.
Yep.
And then in the next page is the panel where Robin is like, you know.
I wouldn't be so quick to accept the help. You know, like, there's a pirate alliance. What if he betrays you?
Yeah. And,
just-
and
Hey.
Luffy goes,
You gonna betray me?
well, he goes, Robin says that to him, and he answers her.
Right.
He goes, wait, that's going to happen? Like, that's basically, he's like, oh, he's going to? And then Law is like, I'm not. He goes, okay.
Oh, okay. See, in the anime, it's a little different. It's just he looks at Law and he goes, "You gonna betray me?" Law just goes, "Nah."
Okay, yeah. So it is slightly
Yeah.
different.
Well, and then Usopp chimes in. He's like, "Well, don't be so quick to accept. Like, take a minute."
he already said yes anyway. Like,
Yeah, it's like you can't change his mind.
no, the idea happened, and he said yes. And but the best part about it is, to me, is like, I think Law understands what Luffy is as far as his potential,
Sure,
but he knows nothing about Luffy
as a person.
as Luffy.
No, he's basically the one time he met Luffy. Well, the 2 times was at Saba Odi, where he saw Luffy would just go straight fisticuffs with the Celestial
Yeah.
Dragon.
Yes.
And then at the Paramount War when he healed him after getting
He saves him.
yeah after
And then he takes
Ace
him
got
back and heals
punched.
him. And so, yeah, so Luffy, like, when they first kind of meet up, he calls him Traffy.
Yeah.
And so when they finally, like, meet up again, he's like, oh, I owe you my life. And
He's like, nah, you're good.
is like, no. He goes, I did it out on impulse. You don't owe me anything.
Yeah.
And it's, like, kind of further establishes the fact that Law is, he's like, to me, he's a chess master.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, that's kind of how I look at him as a character in the mythos of the One Piece.
He's
like,
also probably the smartest one in the series.
Yeah.
Let's be real. I was like, look at all the straw
Robin.
hats. Okay, Robin is the other exception.
Yeah, Robin is like the shining brilliance of the crew. Like,
But I mean, like, yeah. But I was like, of the rest of the crew, they're all kind of stupid.
oh, for sure.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, Nami has her moments too. But,
they all do.
But like,
Oh wait, have you gotten to like any of the moments of like Robin's humor?
with
Anything?
well, only briefly because it's funny in this arc when it happens. You mentioned it already, but like when Law changes everybody's bodies.
Yeah.
And so, like, fucking Frankie ends up in Chopper, and it is just utterly terrifying to Robin.
Yeah, because he makes like a weird face. And don't you ever make that face again?
Yeah, he makes a Frankie face in Chopper, and she's just like, don't ever do that again.
No, but
Like, really don't.
there's a whole bit too. I don't know when it happens, but it's basically, I think it might be pre-time skip, but it's basically like, I think Luffy's making fun of everyone where he's like, oh, like this is my Sanji impression. And he
Oh, yeah.
combs his hair over and he's just like pretending to smoke and saying weird things. And then he's like, and then Usopp does Robin and it's like, oh, I hope they don't find anything on the seafloor that might kill them, but they already might be dead. And they're all laughing. They're like, oh my God, it's just like her.
I don't exactly remember that, except for whenever Luffy puts the chopsticks in his nose and mouth. Whatever that's, I forget
It's like a
what that was
walrus thing.
about. But yeah, like that had them all cracking up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, she's smart, but she's also prone to the stupidity of their attitude.
Absolutely.
Like they are all very much belong together because they're silly as fuck. Like, and they're all driven by something weird, not individual.
Yes.
And so, like, there are moments of lapses in all of them, depending on what's going on. But anyway, so they make the alliance,
Yep.
and the plan is to take down Caesar Clown, but kidnap him.
Well, yeah, because they need him as an ally, kind of.
Law wants to kidnap him. Whether or not he wants to control the substance that Caesar Clown is making for Doflamingo or not is not exactly clear. You just know
sad
that
or is it smile?
sad.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, see, smile is something else.
It's the smile fruit
Well,
that sad creates, right?
they only mention the smile thing once.
Okay.
And it's kind of near where the end of where I stopped reading. Doflamingo says something about it. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to learn about this when we get to Dressrosa because obviously that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Doflamingo has recruited the expertise of Caesar Clown to basically create a substance that manufactures a man-made devil fruit.
Correct.
And that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, to think of it being in the hands of a villain.
Well, for sure, rather than just anyone that found one.
Right. It's terrifying because it's like, well, he could just make an army of devil fruit users and whatever he wouldn't care what the outcome is.
No.
It's like if you're fighting 100 devil fruit users, even if they all don't know how to use it, that's a problem.
Well, yeah, because they have powers now.
Yeah.
Well, they revealed with Momonosuke, right?
They tell you he ate it.
Okay.
Yeah, because Momonosuke is Kinemon's son. He's one of the abducted kids.
Mm-hmm.
And when he comes from that island of the samurais. Wano, there you go. Oh, that's why you guys are so excited about that.
Yeah, Wano's awesome.
Yeah, okay. So he comes from Wano, and he's a stubborn little shit.
Right.
The one child is trying to get him to eat, and he's like, I won't eat. Well, ironically enough, the fact that he won't eat keeps him from becoming addicted to this candy that Caesar Clown is giving to the kids.
Wasn't
to,
that
make
that made them
drug
giants?
addicts.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's an agent in there.
Oh, yeah.
That's addicting. So it like makes these kids like they're fucking heroin addicts for
Crack.
this Caesar Clown candy, you know? And
Caesar Clown crack. The CCC.
ooh, sprinkles. And but they're like crazy.
Yeah.
They're crazy. And
They start like lashing out and like they're little animals.
yeah, they get enraged when they don't get their druggy drugs. And so
They're like real children.
and drug addicts.
That too.
Yeah, they're like child drug addicts. That's a terrible nightmare. But Momonosuke. God damn, some of the names really trip me up. Momonosuke, he won't eat, and so
Works in his favor though.
yeah. After a few days of being stubborn, he somehow wanders into the secret lab of Caesar Clown.
Doesn't he fall down like a trash chute?
No, that's later.
Okay.
That Luffy falls into that trash chute. Also,
Gotcha.
and that's where those two characters meet.
Okay.
And that's how Luffy actually gets out of the trash chute. Because when he fell in there, they're like, oh, well, good luck getting out of there.
Yeah, have fun, dude.
You know, like, they don't care about him anymore. He was in a fight, and then he fell in the hole, and they're like,
Yeah, okay.
whatever. But Momonosuke is down there in dragon form now.
Yep.
And so, because after he ate the man-made devil fruit, he turned into a dragon. And so that's how that all kind of went down. And it's just, I imagine watching this in the anime, it's very chaotic.
The whole show is chaotic.
Because, like, it's like Caesar Clown has released this giant gaseous blob thing. And what'd you call it? Axolotl?
The axolotl.
Yeah, so at first it's just a blob, and then it takes shape as like a giant frog-looking thing in the book, and they call it the axolotl.
Well, that's what they're like, little like sea creatures.
I don't know.
Oh.
But in the beginning, it's just a blob.
Right.
It's literally just a blob, and they call it the slime.
Okay.
And until it like starts launching pieces of itself across the water,
Well, yeah.
it doesn't take full form.
So, because I'm curious how it was drawn versus animated when they kill it. Mm-hmm. What happens?
But they don't really kill it.
Well, what happens once it like dies?
Well, it didn't die. Like Kinemon at one point uses his flame slicing thing
Right. Fox flame.
to slice it, and it explodes. Mm-hmm. But then he slices the flame again to keep everybody from, getting burned and
Sure.
killed. But it doesn't really ever, like, they don't show it dying.
So they didn't show like an apple.
No.
Interesting.
An apple?
Yeah.
They kill it with an apple?
No. So, because you're leaving Punk Hazard, right?
Yeah. So, Luffy has already punched Caesar Clown across the world.
Okay.
Like he punches him through out a door into
I'm just trying to
wherever.
think. Yeah, because if they already fought the axolotl, it shouldn't come back. There's like a whole thing where it's like they fight it, they defeat it, and then it shows like, call it like an apple crate or something, and then one of the apples transforms.
Nope.
No shit.
Nope.
Huh.
That does not happen.
Oh, well, that's a fun little fact for you then.
Yeah, that does not happen.
Cool.
Yeah. No, none of that.
Yeah, because there's a whole thing, and I don't know how to, I guess, properly phrase it. But so basically, there's a theory that, I don't know if it's officially confirmed, but basically, like, if you have a devil fruit, or in this case, a devil fruit user, and they die, their devil fruit will inhabit the closest fruit that was similar to it.
Oh, so like saying that particular devil fruit would be released back into the world?
Correct. So like in this case, it's like I said, it's like an apple crate, and then one of them transforms into it.
I'll have to read those panels again, but I just feel like that would have really stuck out to me. There wasn't like a conclusion to it. And I also just assumed that all of the rest of the gas that he's trying to release on this building was part of that. Because when he got cut, just cut, he releases gas.
Well, right, because he's a Logia.
Yeah, and so like, yeah, but no, that I don't remember the apple thing happening at all.
I wonder if it's only in the anime, which would be weird though, because usually it's pretty 1-to-1 for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, it could have just been one of those things where they're like, well, we need there to be a conclusion to this,
right,
in the show.
Or I guess maybe because like, I don't know, like it's important information to know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to read that volume again though.
There's theories that when Blackbeard killed Whitebeard, when he shrouded him in darkness, he just had fruit with him. So then when Whitebeard died, it was like, oh, cool, here's a fruit. Oh, it's now his devil fruit because it was closest.
Yeah.
But
see, the whole I haven't got enough of Blackbeard to have a theory there.
Yeah, no one has. If you read some of the theories, because you could read them now and you would still be like, okay, they're all just so far-fetched and out there.
I think it's a lot like, because we were just talking about it with Luffy, like, and it's hard to. I just think that Luffy didn't get the traditional devil fruit. I have believed that for a long time, though. I know that there's the hockey and there's the will of the king and there's all of that, but his powers continually transform.
Right.
And so I think he has something different than like what has, I don't know. That's just my thing. But he's got something different. I personally feel like that. A Logia or a Paramecia or
Zoan.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't turned into an animal yet.
I mean,
yet.
Like I said, Chopper technically has a human.
Yeah.
But see, this is why, like, I didn't look anything up because I didn't want any spoilers. I know you haven't looked anything up specifically, but you have that one game on your iPad where it's like, it'll show you things like Gear 4. So you already know about that, which
right.
Obviously you've already seen Gear 2 and Gear 3.
Yeah.
You know, at some point it's bound to show up, but it's
sure.
like, I think it takes some of the fun out of it.
Well, so I stopped playing the game.
Oh, okay.
That's why I play the war game now.
Gotcha.
Because I was like, I don't want to like continually be speculating on stuff, and then I get to that part in the story, and I'm like, that was like they
like that
really had no relevance.
Yeah.
Other than it's a villain.
Yeah.
But in that game, they kind of overdo certain stuff, and
little bit.
Enough where I thought Pell was coming back forever.
I mean, he technically is not dead.
Right, but he's not coming back. He might somewhere in the end.
It kind of does.
Okay, well, I haven't gotten there.
For maybe a panel. Like,
I don't remember.
No, like I'm saying, like it'll happen.
Oh, okay.
And that's, I actually don't even remember if he actually is there.
They make you think that he's there.
I think he is. I'm trying to remember.
Ah.
It's at Reverie.
Okay.
Like he'll be there for like a panel. It's like there's really no relevance to him at the moment. I think he's pretty much done as a character.
Got it. Yeah, but yeah, so I stopped playing that game because I didn't want to keep like seeing stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and like,
Well, I remember when you would first started playing, you're like, oh, dude, Gear 4 is cool. And I was like, oh, did you get there in the story? You're like, no, it's in my game. And I was like, God damn it. Like, stop.
yeah.
Like I said, it takes the fun out of it.
But they did, so like, they made mention to why he stops changing little after he goes into different gears.
Did they?
Well, yeah, he mentioned, he answers it in the SBS, the question corner.
Gotcha.
He said at some point, it's a lot of work, extra work.
To make a new gear or?
No, like the extra animations to basically explain it all the time.
Yes.
Because a lot of extra work. And he was like, and it just felt like, you know, he's getting better at using the gears, so it doesn't happen anymore.
Oh, like when he shrinks from Gear 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's 100% a thing.
Yeah.
Because that was the first time he ever did Gear 3. Mm-hmm. It took it such a toll on his body. And then, ever since then, it's just kind of like...
Now
it's been
adjusted.
2 years. Yeah, it's been 2 years. He's had time to practice it and sustain it and knows how his body works. So, like...
But, so Traffy and Luffy are in an alliance, and...
It just gets better.
With... Basically, the first agenda point is not anything that Law wants to do.
No.
It is something that Luffy's like, we're doing this.
So when they put Chopper on his head.
And Law goes, that's not part of the plan. And he goes, well, but we're in an alliance now, right?
Yeah.
So we're friends. So you have to do what I want, right?
Like a true friend. Yeah, no, Luffy knows how to manipulate someone.
Dude, you're working with Luffy now.
Yep.
You just have to go with it.
Yeah, you can't back out of this now. You've committed.
And he's not a planner.
No.
And he's not one to stick to a plan.
No, of course not.
And so, like, you know, the plan is kidnap Caesar.
Go from there.
And escape the island.
Yeah.
And so when Luffy shows up to the fight, before he's supposed to get there, he just comes crashing in.
Yeah.
To fight everybody.
In typical Luffy fashion.
It's like... Jesus. But there's so much going on in Punk Hazard. It's hard to stay focused, like, because the Navy shows up.
Yep.
So you get Smoker back.
Yep.
Which is awesome.
Wasn't he
And
part
you
of
get
G5?
Tashigi.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they're together.
But it's like they're the Navy, but they're like a subsection of it.
Well, they're like, very weird.
It's like all like the misfits that didn't really work out as the Navy.
I think Smoker's hitching a ride.
I don't
Because
really remember.
whole crew is always referring to Tashigi as the captain. And Smoker's there.
Sure.
You know, and he's an admiral.
Yep.
A vice admiral or whatever. But I feel like he's just hitching a ride as part of the mission or to be there.
Yeah.
And so you get to see more of Smoker and Tashigi. And is it Virgo?
Yeah.
The pirate.
Who always has food on his face.
Yeah, food face guy. He works for the Navy, but he's been working for the Navy, you know, in secret as a pirate for 15 years.
That's right. He's a double agent.
Yeah, and so he's actually the #1 agent for Doflamingo, who's helping achieve the agenda points of his through the Navy. And that's how they were able to, like, abduct and kidnap all these kids and do all these weird science experiments on them, because every time something happened, this Virgo guy would basically make a report that it was an accident at sea and they're dead.
It's like Hot Fuzz.
Yeah. And
an accident happened.
Yeah, and so the parents, like, are never looking for the kids because they just think they're dead.
Right.
And so there's a lot going on in the arc, but it is. It's fantastic. I read, 5 volumes in a day or whatever because it was so good.
Yep.
And I feel like now it's like back on the pace, like, which I think that just happens with any story.
Oh, for sure. There's always a lull here and there.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of Dressrosa just because I think it's a little slower. But, I mean, that was watching it. I know reading it week to week for sure was slow for people. But if you can just binge through all of it, I'm sure it's fine. Dressrosa is going to have some cool moments, I think.
Well, yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people think Doflamingo is kind of a douchey villain or whatever.
I mean, he slaves people.
Oh, is that his...
Yeah.
That's his thing? I don't...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So far,
That's why like that one day when we were at the like
Nerd shop?
game store. Yeah. Like with the guy that had the Don Quixote family, I was like, dude, that's the worst one.
Yeah. Wait. Did he have a family tattoo?
Well, it's the Don Quixote family. So like Doflamingo's Jolly Roger, like that like smile with the line through it. You talking like family like Fast and Furious?
You just gave me a great idea for a tattoo.
Oh no.
Doflamingo, but it's Vin Diesel's face. His family.
But like in the style of One Piece.
Yes.
Dude, could you imagine like actually getting Oda to draw a Vin Diesel though? Just to be like, yo, I need Vin Diesel with the boa.
That would be awesome.
Or like the coat.
Yeah, his whole situation.
Oh, dude. The glasses and everything.
Yeah.
Like in a car.
You only know it's Vin Diesel because of the nose. Dude, he's got that nose.
Dude, honestly, you could just do Doflamingo in the Charger and it just says family.
It could work. Nose flamingo. Anyway, but I haven't been interested in this villain because they show him.
Oh, he's barely been in it.
Impel Down?
Yeah.
Or Paramount War. At some point,
Paramount War for sure.
They show him and he's a prick.
He's popped up every so often. And yeah, he is just a prick.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm not doing that. I leave.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, at least he's like still like a pirate.
Yeah.
And so I'm with that. So I'm excited to get into that. Plus, they introduced 2 of his henchmen so far.
Baby Five.
Baby Five
And then the fat guy.
Spinner guy.
Sure.
Whatever his name is. Buffalo.
Was it Buffalo?
I think it's Buffalo.
Okay.
I think it's Buffalo. But Baby Five is cool.
Baby Five's rad.
Like her entire body
Like I said,
is
Senor Pink is cool.
a weapon, yeah. I haven't seen Senior Pink diaper guy yet.
He's funny as fuck.
Yeah, I haven't seen him yet.
I'm not going to tell you who he encounters, but when he does encounter this person, the moments that they have together are so fucking stupid. Like, it's going to be good.
It could only be Usopp. But anyway.
Yeah, no, like I said, Dressrosa to me was a little slower. The moments though that I was like, these are fucking good, they're fucking good. Like you get character backstories, you get more information on certain things that they've postured questions about, but never actually given you answers.
Sorry, I was looking to see how long we've been doing this.
It's funny. I looked at my clock before we started, and I was like, I'm not going to forget this. I forgot.
Yeah. I think kind of rambling at this point.
That's all we do.
Punk Hazard is great.
Like I said, at first I didn't care for it as much. Kind of going back through and looking at certain things that I did really like, I'm like, it's not terrible. Like it's still not one of my top favorite arcs, but it's not one of the worst. Which is like, how were we trying to phrase it the other day? It's like, if you have to try and like pick the worst out of something that's just great start to finish, it's like, I mean, it's hard in the first place, but it's not like, well, that one's bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like you gotta pick your poison, or you gotta like you take it with a grain of salt or whatever.
Or in this case, a grain of sand, because like you had said, you didn't really love Alabasta.
I did not,
Like,
but
it's not terrible.
Yeah,
but it's not the best.
It's just like hard to say. It's not that the writing is always consistent.
For sure.
The character development is always consistent.
Yes.
I think it almost hinges completely to me on how I feel about the villain.
Crocodile is cool though.
Yeah, like Crocodile's cool.
Well, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong though. That's like the first like major arc in One Piece, isn't it? Because you've got Romance Dawn, Orange Town, Log Town,
yeah, so
Arlong.
So like because Arlong
Shell's
is
Town.
More like almost presented as a thug.
I was gonna say, to me, he's a setup. Like once they get to the Grand Line, that's when it becomes like, okay, here's the first arc. Yeah. Everything else is really just build up.
Yeah, because he's kind of just like a thug, and then you meet Crocodile, and you're like,
damn, this guy's powerful.
Well, like he's like the leader of this organization,
Baroque Works,
and so
if it ain't Baroque, don't fix it.
Oh, by the way, Zoro does not slice Mr. 5 in half in the manga, does he?
He's not even in the manga. Like that's
Mr. 5 that from the live action, remember?
Was
or
it
is that
Mr. 7?
3? Mr. 7.
Mr. 3 is the wax guy.
Whoever he slices in half. That doesn't happen in the manga.
No, they just talk about it. You don't like. That's why it was like you don't even actually see that scene happen. They just so when they added it, it was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, that was rad.
Which
That was super rad.
I'll go out and say I already messaged him immediately after we filmed the last one, but I was wrong. Mr. 2 was not the Blade guy. That's Mr. 1. Mr. 2 was Bon Clay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely forgot for some reason.
Oh.
Which
Yeah.
you just found out. Bon Clay is still alive.
I did in one of the subsidiary panels that
Like
exists.
the intro panels.
Yeah, they show
Or like
Bon
the
Clay
covers. I don't remember what they're
alive
called.
and thriving, and I was
Yep.
like, "Fuck
Yeah,
yes.
Best Boy is still
Fuck
alive.
yes." And it's funny because maybe that's another thing to me. It's great writing where like I hated the character so much
At first.
and then see
Impel
him,
Down happens, and you're like, oh my God, Bon Clay is amazing.
Motherfuckers are dope.
But like, all kidding aside, it's the same with Buggy. Because at first you're
Yeah.
like, okay, Buggy's kind of annoying, like not like obnoxious annoying, but you're just like, get out of the way, dude. Like you're not really a threat.
No, he's obnoxious.
I mean,
he's obnoxious
But-
because
but-
you know, as the reader, you know he's a fucking boob,
well, sure.
right? And so you're like, oh my god, this guy.
But
again.
like, they don't really posture him that way at first. At first, he's like, oh, he is a villain and he could be menacing.
It's true.
And then you get to Impel Down, and you're like, this guy's a moron.
Yep.
Like, absolute, complete fucking moron.
But then
Just like Luffy.
But then he redeems himself, I think, also in Impel Down when he throws his feet at the floor to run through the blade grass.
No, that's the funniest fucking thing. Because he hands it to Luffy. He's like, just hold my feet. I can fly.
Yeah.
And then Luffy's holding the wrong feet. You're like, where'd you get feet?
But anyway.
Yeah.
So I think we're close to the hour mark, which is going to alienate people from us, so we should wrap it up.
Cool.
Punk Hazard, amazing, back on track.
Proud of you.
Reading ferociously.
I'll see you in Wano next week.
Yeah, I was gonna say I already ordered all the volumes that I have that are missing to be able to get as close as I can to where we are in reality. If you're not reading One Piece or watching One Piece,
You should.
Jordan, go do it. It's amazing.
Again, reading super quick. It's like, I get it. It's a lot of chapters, but it's like, they're like 15 pages each.
It's easy.
That's the thing.
It's a comic book, guys.
Well, yeah, and it takes, I don't know, 5 minutes to read one chapter.
Yeah, probably.
Like,
So go watch it.
It's good.
If you like what happened here today, like, subscribe, all those things that make YouTube like us more and all that. So peace.
bye.